All the power in the world can't help you when Dale from Baskin Robbins comes a knockin'.
Damn, they find out who you are? Baskin Robbins always finds out, bro.
With each new installment, the MCU keeps getting bigger and bigger. Some Marvel characters who years ago people would have assumed were pipe dreams of ever appearing in a live-action film have finally made their way to the MCU in movies and Disney Plus shows alike. Celestial beings, gods, and monsters have all proven that we have no idea the level of power that was possible in this wide multiverse. Who takes the top spot as the most powerful being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let's find out right now.
Not necessary.
Eternity.
The latest MCU film introduced us to gods and universal constants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we all thought were just a myth. Name dropped back in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I believe the most powerful character introduced in the MCU at this point is Eternity. Eternity is a universal constant that represents everything, quite literally the embodiment of eternity. At the center of the universe, Gorr the God Butcher used Stormbreaker to access the gate that would lead him to eternity. This was because it was said that the person who reached eternity first could have one wish granted. This means that eternity in the MCU is essentially an all-powerful genie, with full cosmic awareness and control. Ultimately, Gorr wished for his daughter to be brought back to life, which is amazing all on its own. But Gorr could have wished for every god to perish, half of the universe to disappear, or planets to explode. Basically, any other MCU villain's plan could have been done with a single wish by the first person who reached eternity. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Eternity has the most power of any MCU character to date, and there may be more on the way, but for now he's at the top of the podium.
You had to ask.
The What If animated TV series introduced us to some of the most sneakily powerful characters in the MCU. From zombies to party animals to the Watcher, the power displayed in animated form could rival some of the most powerful live-action characters we have met since 2008. However, probably the most powerful character is Infinity Ultron. In the universe where Ultron won, he successfully uploaded his consciousness into the Vision, and he became so incredibly powerful that he wiped out the entire world thanks to the Mind Stone. When Thanos arrived, he split him in half and obtained the other 5 stones. After conquering the entire universe, he gained a multiversal awareness that even allowed him to hear and find the Watcher. He defeated the mighty being in battle, and gained access to conquer an untold number of universes. Infinity Ultron could have conquered the entire multiverse had he not run into a ragtag bunch of multiversal guardians assembled by the Watcher, who really only beat him on a technicality. Truthfully, Infinity Ultron may get forgotten thanks to his animated form, but he's likely the most powerful villain we've seen in the MCU to date.
Fascinating.
Eternals was a 2.5-hour epic that introduced us to some of the most powerful villains, heroes, and neutral characters in the MCU. The Eternals and Deviants have great power, but none of them even compare to their creators, the Celestials. Specifically, chief among the Celestials and overseer of the Eternals on Earth is Arishem the Judge. Arishem is a giant being who literally creates galaxies in his spare time. He has successfully groomed worlds for destruction when they are made to create new Celestials. The Eternals ended the film by betraying Arishem and actually killing the emerging Celestial Tiamat. Like a terrifying inevitability, Arishem appeared in the sky and took several of them from Earth. I don't see how many characters in the universe could possibly hope to oppose Arishem. His cosmic abilities give him the power to control the destinies of worlds, and quite literally play God whenever he wants. You know, my mom always told me not to care what other people think about me, but I'm starting to think that this guy's judgment is one I should probably be pretty concerned about.
That's the gambit!
Jonathan Majors has officially brought the long-awaited arrival of Kang to the MCU in the season finale of Loki, Season 1. While the man simply known as He Who Remains may have seemed on the whole non-threatening, his backstory and accomplishments proved to be anything but. Based heavily on Lord Immortus from the comics, He Who Remains is the creator of the TVA, the victor of the first multiversal war, and the overseer of the sacred timeline. He has lasted an unbelievable amount of time, and until crossing the threshold, he knew every moment that would transpire in front of him. His defeat, if you even want to call it that, only came because essentially he had grown old and bored. He had offered control of the TVA, an organizational body that literally clips branches in the timeline, over to 2 Loki variants, and did not fight back against his death even a little bit, knowing what would be the result. A master strategist and clearly successful in his endeavors, He Who Remains held one of the greatest powers we have seen in the MCU until this point.
I am your guide through these vast new realities.
The What If animated series presented us with not only some incredibly powerful villains, but some heroes as well. Well, I guess for the most part this guy is more of a neutral party, but at the end he definitely broke some vows and fought for the side of good. The Watcher historically belongs to a race of some of the most powerful beings in the universe. He has a full cosmic awareness, but has taken an oath never to interfere in the many universes he oversees. He displayed his full power when he had to fight Infinity Ultron one-on-one, and though he did not come out on top, this big-headed alien showed some moves that would take down just about anyone else. With the ability to travel the multiverse, and the power to take on any obstacles he comes across, but the will to completely stay out of it, the Watcher was and will continue to be one of the most powerful beings in the MCU, waiting in the shadows for the next time he will inevitably interfere.
Are you ready to break your oath?
Of course, more than one Celestial would take up a top spot on a most powerful beings list. It's true that Arishem has many fellow Celestials who merely cameoed in the Eternals movie, and one who barely poked his face out of the ocean before turning to stone, but it's also true that one of the most powerful revealed himself long before that. Featured in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the father of Star-Lord, better known as Ego the Living Planet, was a surprisingly powerful entry into the villain category of the MCU. Ego, who is basically just a brain floating in space, learned to control matter at the molecular level and build whatever he wanted thanks to his connection to the light. Appropriately named, Ego sought to turn the entire universe filled with life into an extension of himself. He spent millions of years building up his power and even attempting to use his own offspring as a means of furthering that power. The Guardians were very lucky to destroy him, because should he have been left unchecked, Ego the Living Planet could be the only thing that exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Peter!
Yeah? Oh, sorry. Did you mean
that?
The awesome might of Dormammu simply cannot be defeated. Doctor Strange basically had to just let him win over and over again in order to technically defeat him. As the master of his own realm, Dormammu resides in the Dark Dimension, where he has unlimited access to power that has been sought by sorcerers for centuries. Magic users like Caecilius and the Ancient One tapped into the Dark Dimension in order to extend their life and gain access to what they believe to be unlimited power. Dormammu is the embodiment of that unlimited power, and he unleashed it tenfold against Doctor Strange over and over and over again. Dormammu is as manipulative as he is powerful, and is able to build followings and worshippers without ever stepping foot outside of the Dark Dimension. Should Dormammu ever make his way out of his dimension, he could potentially wreak havoc on an unsuspecting world. But don't worry, I think we're safe for now. Though, thinking about it again, the other side of that hole that Clea cut into the air looked very familiar.
This is me being reasonable.
Especially corrupted by the power of the Darkhold, the Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful characters the MCU has ever seen. It even took convincing herself to destroy herself, since no one else could. Wanda Maximoff is a natural-born witch, whose powers were enhanced by the Mind Stone, and she became one of the strongest Avengers capable of battling Thanos all on her own. Her mind became twisted and warped, and after the tremendous amount of loss she encountered, from losing vision not once or twice, but 3 times, along with her 2 twin boys, there's barely any sense of reason left within the once great hero. After fully realizing her powers as the Scarlet Witch, she was able to decimate the entire might of Kamar-Taj, wipe out the Illuminati of another universe, which contained some of the strongest characters we never thought we'd see, and nearly caused an incursion. Should the Scarlet Witch reveal herself to be alive, everyone in the multiverse better hope it's the Wanda of old, and not the new Nexus being who would destroy an entire universe just to see her kids.
I'm your mother.
Odin was one of the most feared conquerors and leaders in the entire galaxy. He wielded such powerful weapons as the Odin Force and the Odin Sword, and unless he was taking an extended nap, there's not a single person who would hope to come up against him. He joined Valhalla and caused a whole other mess of issues, but while he was around, Odin was able to defeat such powerful creatures like the Dark Elves, the Frost Giants, and his own daughter Hela. It's often said that some of the most evil beings waited for Odin to pass on before beginning their quests in the MCU, which is certainly a testament to the threat level he posed in the universe. He was able to help turn Asgard into the most prosperous realm in the universe, and though it was destroyed without his presence, its legacy will forever be tied to his name. With Thor becoming more and more powerful with each movie, it seems as though Odin may be surpassed in the near future, but for now he is the legend that no one dared cross.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers?
The Mad Titan brought the universe to its knees in the MCU. With the power of the Infinity Stones, Thanos was able to take on large separate groups of the Avengers with ease. With the power of the stones, Thanos was able to rewrite reality, reverse time, and kill half of the universe. Thanos was able to squeeze the life out of Loki, and was thought of to be the most powerful being in the universe by certain races of aliens. Crossing Thanos was always a bad idea, and there isn't a single person who has done it without serious and sometimes fatal consequences. When a character of Thanos' conviction wants to accomplish something, there is very little in the universe that will stop them from accomplishing it. That is Thanos' true power. It's his will to do what he believes is right, even though everyone watching is pretty sure it's absolutely psychotic. Still, he was able to collect all of the magic rocks, decorate his glove, and accomplish his goals with a snap of his fingers, no matter how many people were trying to stop it.
I am prepared.
An underrated villain, but true powerhouse, appeared in Thor Ragnarok, and is the destined cause of the prophesized event. Surtur is a large fire demon who wields an incredible amount of power. Even at his normal size, he's not a foe you would want to fight. He was able to be vanquished by Odin and Thor at this size, but once his crown joins with the eternal flame, oh boy, you had better watch out. Though this was done on purpose in order to defeat Hela, Surtur grew to the size of a mountain. He was at a point where the Hulk's attacks were basically just a mosquito he needed to swat away. At this full size, Hela stood no chance, and she had just taken out the entire Asgardian army. Surtur was able to drive his powerful sword deep into the heart of Asgard and completely destroy it, foundation and all. Surtur is a great example of someone whose power was manipulated by a hero in order to defeat another villain. But when thought of on their own, their power can probably match the best of the best in the MCU.
The fall of Asgard. The great prophecy.
Hang on.
When Shang-Chi and his sister Xia Ling made their way to their mother's village of Ta Lo, they were introduced to some of the most incredible power they had ever seen. This village had mastered martial arts, control of the elements, and had built some of the most incredible weapons ever seen. The sacred village of Ta Lo is so prosperous thanks to the protection provided by an otherworldly creature. The Great Protector is a space dragon who does just exactly what her name would imply. In the past, the Great Protector was able to seal the giant soul sucker behind a gate made of dragon scales. And with the help of Shang-Chi and Katie, surprisingly, she was able to help defeat the creature once and for all. Her scales are a natural resource that make for incredible armor and weapons. She can fly through the air at super speeds and has a magical quality that improves the life of those she protects. Assuming that the Great Protector isn't the only one of her kind, we may see stronger dragons appear, but for now, and until Fin Fang Foom arrives, she holds the top spot.
Too many sorcerers.
Doctor Strange has certainly had a history of dealing with villains who dabble in dark arts, but he was never more powerful than when he started doing the same. When he needed enough power to overcome an absolute point in time, Doctor Strange spent a great amount of time absorbing the energy from multidimensional beings, using one of the darkest forms of magic to do so. Dark Strange became so powerful that he destroyed the regular version of himself, and his entire universe along with it. He was the most powerful member of the Guardians of the Multiverse, and was entrusted by the Watcher in several tasks. Even though there is nothing left of his world, and he is basically just sitting around in a pocket dimension watching a never-ending standoff between Killmonger and Arnim Zola, he still holds some of the greatest powers seen or collected by any character in the MCU. Should the Watcher ever run into another issue, such as the Ultron debacle, one would have to think that his first stop will be to visit his old friend Dark Strange. And no, I'm not talking about the three-eyed one that was impaled on a fence spike. One of the most powerful new heroes in the MCU is backed by one of the most powerful gods. Khonshu is the ancient Egyptian god of the moon, and holds an incredible amount of power. He has the ability to alter the sky, which has gotten him in trouble on more than a few occasions. He was able to grow to an enormous size and get the upper hand in a fight against Amit. Most importantly, however, he, like many other Egyptian gods, has the ability to imbue a human avatar with incredible power. He was able to turn Mark Spector into a nearly undefeatable hero, even able to come back from the dead. Khonshu may be slick and slimy, preying on those in need and binding them to a contract that they didn't read, but his ability to do just that has to rank him among some of the most powerful beings in the universe. I don't even believe we've seen the full power of Moon Knight or Khonshu just yet, but there's plenty more MCU left to come. Although he definitely proved himself to be one of the biggest jerks in the universe, I still believe Zeus is one of the most powerful. Gore never made his way to Omnipotent City, and therefore never came face to face with probably the most famous god, Zeus. Zeus proved himself to be arrogant, lazy, and downright cruel, but I still think there's enough power there that kept Gore from even trying to fight him, instead taking the shortcut to eternity. Zeus took a lightning bolt from Thor straight through the chest, and still somehow wound up alive at the end of the film, basically just ignoring the gaping hole in his center. The power of Zeus is amazing, and Thor thought they could beat Gore just by using his most powerful weapon. Overall, if Zeus got up off his butt and started trying a little harder, I think he could have helped Thor end the Gore problem a lot sooner. Given that Zeus is still alive and sending his children after the god of thunder, I think this powerful legend may not be quite done in the MCU just yet.
Oh, I didn't hear any thunder, but out of your fingers, was that like sparkles?
From gods to titans and back again, the power levels of the MCU only seem to be getting higher and higher, though none of them have over 30 delicious flavors of ice cream. Which MCU character do you think holds the title of the most powerful?